Hey, come on, somebody. Big Rich Brock Comedy. So good to have you on the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. A big shout out to all of you that are watching. I appreciate the Face World messages, the emails, the shout outs. Share it with your friends. Man, I love doing what I'm doing, and got some great responses from part 1 and part 2 of the ministry years. There'll be more of that as we go along. I mean, that was 28 years of my life. So I'm going to talk about it at times, along with other things that we covered. Growing up in the 1900s, raising 3 kids, doing life, going through divorces, marriage, family, all of it. And today, what I want to take a couple minutes, and this will probably be a 2-parter too, the way I can already tell, I'm just getting started talking about it, is talking about the comedy side of what I do. I've been doing comedy full time now for about 2 years and a half, almost 3. Started doing comedy 5 years ago. We'll talk about that, and love what I do. And want to just encourage you to follow me at bigrichbrock.com, Big Rich Brock Comedy on all the stuff, man. You know the drill. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of it, man. Keep me in the loop. Let people know what's going on. And I've got more things coming. We got shows coming up this week. I'll be in Winter Haven, Florida on June 4th with my good friend Jason Hedden, the founder of Panama City Comedy. He's bringing a lineup together for Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club. So if you're in the Winter Haven, St. Pete area, come out and be a part of that show. Also going to be in Tony, Alabama on 6/20. 6/12, I'll be at 3 Strands, one of my favorite places, 3 Strands Winery in Dallas, Georgia. Man, we've got 8 or 9 shows in June where you can catch Big Rich and friends, and I look forward to seeing you. Thanks for the support. And man, let's just kind of jump into what I want to talk about. People ask me, I had somebody come up to me at a show last weekend, and it's weird because I did 2 shows Friday and Saturday of the last week. One was in Ringgold, Georgia, where Dolly Parton got married. Come on, somebody. Ringgold, Georgia. I have done a monthly show there for 4 years. So yes, 48 shows. 46, really. We skipped 2 months, but 46 shows in that facility. A great coffee shop called Caffeine Addicts right there downtown Ringgold. And then the Saturday night, I was in Cartersville, Georgia, and big shout out. I'm at Hammerhead Creations doing this today, so you can get in touch with them. They can help you with any of your website, any of your social media needs, and they can even record a podcast. Come on, somebody. So here we are in downtown Cartersville, which I love. I live in this area now. I loved living here. I grew up in Chickamauga, Georgia, and now I live in Cartersville. In between, I lived in Dalton, Georgia. It's Pastor Brock over there in Dalton, Georgia for 25 plus years, raised 3 great kids, lived life to the fullest. And then lo and behold, went through a divorce. It happens. I was trying to find a place to live in Dalton, Georgia, the carpet capital of the world, in the mid 2000s, like 2015, 16. There were literally in Whitfield County 3 rental houses that would fit 3 boys and a dad. 3. That's it. Everyone that I tried to get, a Latin family beat me to it, man. And they were there because that's the carpet capital of the world. Next thing you know, I'm like, where am I going to live? And I ended up in Ringgold. And it was 13 minutes from my ex and 12 minutes to my boy's school. And it worked out great. Lived in Ringgold for 2.5 years. Then I end up in Cartersville. What's fun about doing comedy the way I do, I'm, as you can tell, a Southern comic. I do clean comedy. People say, what's your comedy like? I said at a winery over the weekend, I had these women ask me, and a fellow was with them, what's your comedy like? Are you dirty, you clean, you blue, you green, whatever? I said, I'm like the Golden Girls. And they always go, oh, yeah, I like the Golden Girls. And I always say that I'm like the Golden Girls, that I'll talk about sex for 30 minutes, but you wouldn't know it unless you've had it a time or two. And if they don't laugh, I'm in trouble. But if they do laugh, I know they're a good candidate for a Big Rich and Friends comedy show, because you're not going to hear me drop the F-bomb. You're not going to hear me just cuss. If I say any word that's a wordy dird, it's out of the mouth of a child when I'm telling a story. That's not my style. Now, I respect all forms of comedy, but I know my brand and I know what I do, and I do it well and I enjoy it. And I think you have to be really creative to come up with things. I heard Dusty Slay, who I've had the privilege of working for and being a part of his shows. And when I first started, he invested some time in me. And I remember him saying, you can say a curse word, but there's other words that are funnier. And they serve the purpose. And that's kind of the way, I am, and I think about things in my comedy. And I tell stories about life. So, I'm talking about growing up in the 1900s. I'm talking about raising my boys. I'm talking about my parents. I'm talking about life in a small town. I'm into this kick now where I'm talking about the DARE program. For you folks that are old as I am, remember the DARE program in school? Pledge, you'll have to pull up the DARE program for everybody so they can see what it is. It was the Drug Awareness Response Education or something like that. We'll show you what it was on the screen. But DARE was big in the 1980s and early 90s. And a policeman would come to your school and scare you to not do drugs. And first of all, it worked for a little while, but they say, according to ChatGPT, the scare tactics didn't work anymore once 2000 got here. And that's true. I agree with that. Big Rich agrees. And you're like, well, why do you think so? Well, when they took paddling out of school, scare tactics didn't work anymore. Because I don't know about you, if you ever got a paddle at school, then you know that fear will work. Man, I was scared to death to get a paddle from my principal. He was an ex-Marine drill sergeant. Come on, somebody. Man, that dude was a bad dude. Good man, but tough. Nobody wanted to mess with him. Our basketball coach was 6'8", big old monster of a guy. Football coach, big guy. And I'm thinking, no, I'll pass. But when they took paddling out of school, scare tactics didn't work anymore. Plus, in Chickamauga, where I grew up, when they did the DARE program and somebody from the city police department came, it's like Barney Five looking for his bullet in his pocket, I'm like, it didn't scare you at all. The only thing I remember about the DARE program was they brought in a big old bag of weed, and I thought, wonder if that's real. And that was a question everybody asked, hey, is that real? And they'd say it was, but I don't know if it was or not. But DARE, the other thing is tough with that was the name. I think if you want to stop people from doing something, don't call it DARE, because everything I ever did wrong, I got dared to do it. Come on, somebody. I dare you to do drugs. Oh, yeah? Okay. I double dog dare you. I triple dog dare you, just like the Christmas story. So we know that from that generation. Then I laugh, too, because in my town, small town, man, but even in small town, we had a mafia, and I can't disclose much about it, even though it's been years since I lived in Chickamauga. But Chickamauga had a mafia. I knew them. My daddy knew them. My dad wasn't a member, but he worked with them, was in good graces with the Chickamauga mafia. We had a motorcycle gang in Chickamauga, yeah. I remember at 16 years old, I got dared to go buy some weed. And I had to go to the motorcycle gang to get it. And I still remember it, man. I was a nervous wreck pulling up over there. I knew where one of them lived because my dad was their mailman. It was over in Mill Village. I pull up. They come out. What do you want? I said, I need to pick up something. They said, aren't you the mailman, son? Yeah. Okay, we like him. Nothing else to be said. And I gave him some money. They sold me some weed in 1985. Come on, somebody. And now the weed they make today, that's like weed. I don't know what it was. I mean, I didn't know much about it. I know I had a bunch of twigs in there, probably had some oregano. I mean, I don't know what they put in it. I know when we started smoking it, we got hungry for pizza. I don't know if it was the munchies or if we're smoking oregano and a little mozzarella and some red crushed pepper. I don't know what was in it, but we thought we were somebody, you know. And I'm like, Dare didn't work then, and Dare doesn't work now. But I just look at that. I'll get talking about stuff like that and write that into a show. And if you're into comedy or you're wanting to pursue, like I mentioned earlier, a guy was at my show, and you know my podcast. I'll ramble about something and I'll bring the train back around. He came up to me. Now listen, this dude, nice guy, out of everybody in the theater, and I can't see everybody because the lights are down, the spotlight's on, but I noticed this dude. And he looked like he wasn't having fun, man. People are laughing, carrying on. Fire show, man. Jason Hedden from Panama City Comedy, Big Rich in the house, man. We were rocking it. And this dude's just kind of there. Comes up to me afterwards. He said, I had a great time. I want to do what you're doing. Can I take you to lunch and you tell me, let me tell you what I want to do? And I'm like, sure, I can't this week, but send me a tape or send me an email what you're working on, and I'll meet you. He goes, I'll buy it. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm in. And there's times I do that. I can't meet everybody, but there's times, man, God impresses on my heart. Don't get mad at God if I don't do it. Maybe he's got somebody better for you than Big Rich to talk to. But I've probably met with a dozen people over the last few years and work with them or talk to them about comedy because they want to do what I'm doing. Now, I look at that in a way, guys, where I've been fortunate. I've headlined. And for you guys that don't know comedy, headlines doing a 40+ minute set, you the main guy at the show. I've headlined 500+ shows in 4 years. That's a lot. That gets people's attention when I say that in the comedy world. And I've been blessed to do that. But I've produced a lot of those shows. And what that means is I put the show together, I get the venue, I pay the comics, I book the comics, I do the promotions, I do the tickets, I do the marketing, I set up, I take down, I do it all. Some of you guys that are listening today are show promoters. Some of you are promoters / comics. You get it. But a lot of folks just think, oh, we show up. It's kind of like church world. Everybody thinks you just show up on Sunday and the place is set for, praise God. You know, it's not that way. There's got to be cleaning. There's got to be prep. There's got to be music practice. There's got to be, audio set. Everything's got to be in its place. Then you walk in and enjoy the experience. Everything I do in comedy, I compare it to ministry because that's my past. That's what I know. And I'm still bringing hope one laugh at a time. It's my goal anyway. So this guy tells me, I want to do what you're doing. And I got home that night and I jotted down a few things. I'm going to share a few of them with you. I think if you want to do comedy or anything, you got to use what you know. Man, you got to talk about things you know. Good comedy has got a lot of truth in it. You got to have some truth in it, in the comedy that I like. Now, there's different kinds, you can be ugly to other people and that's funny and it's big right now and it's hot, but I can't do that because then I got to repent. Being a believer, then I feel convicted and I got to repent and deal with it. And I don't do, I'm not a roast battle guy. I'm not picking on people per se, maybe an ex-wife joke. Come on, somebody, every once in a while. But I talk about my life. I talk about things where I can laugh at myself, but then I talk about just things that have happened to me. I'm not that kind of comic. You got to talk about what you know. Another thing, and you can be successful, is you can be an idiot and be successful. That's why, man, Come on, here's a guilty pleasure a lot of people have, even though this is old school, the Jackass movies. Some dude getting hit in the testicles, that'll make you laugh all day. Somebody breaking wind, somebody doing something, it's a little irreverent, or somebody causing pain. People will be glued to it, they'll watch it. And there's people that make good money being a social media influencer or a comedian, and they just do silly stuff or dumb stuff. And that's fine too. And that might be, hey, people have been telling you all your life you're an idiot. So there you go. You got your way to walk right into that. But that's not my style, or I don't plan on being it anyway. I want to tell stories. I want to bring some hope. I want to make laughs, but I want to encourage people along the way. So in that, you got to think, okay, I got to get together 4 or 5 minutes. That doesn't sound like a lot, but to get a 4 or 5 minute set, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of work. And if you're a comic listening to this, as a show promoter, be honest. The first thing I ask people is, how many minutes can you do clean? And the people that are honest with me, I hire most of the time, because you got to be honest. Don't say, "Oh, I can do an hour. I can do 30. I can do." Be honest. Whatever you can do, I'll find a place for you. Here's some keys if you want to get into comedy or anything else in life. If you can be on time, and you can be a nice person, and you can do what you say, you're going to find work, no matter the field. Now, in comedy, you need to be funny too. Or you can be hilarious and an ass and people still hire you. But to get steady work all the time, follow up right, treat people like you want to be treated, do the right things, follow I've hired in 5 years, I've hired over 200 different comics easy. Many of them repeats, but many of them one and done. I don't have many one and dones anymore because I vet them better. But when I started, I'd hire somebody and they would hurt my brand. In comedy talk, they'd walk people from the show. What that means is somebody hears them, gets up and leaves. They've had it. Because I run a clean show, so you can't drop the F-bomb at a Big Rich show, or be too political, or be too sexual, or be too this or too that, or too vulgar. Other shows you can, and that's why, they're there. Go support, be a part. So I protect my brand. You got to figure out who you are, and then protect that brand and walk with it. Now I want to talk to you a minute. Some of my favorite. Here's some questions I get asked. I get this asked. My friends ask me this all the time. My boys, who I love dearly, they'll say, "How was your show?" If I had $100 bill for every time I'm asked, "How was your show?" I wouldn't need to do shows. Man, I'd be loaded, because people ask, and I'm honored that they ask. And it's funny. I've headlined 500 plus. I've done 600 plus shows. And there's shows and this is my line, I'll say, well, it was in the top 10. Out of 500 plus shows, it's in the top 10. That's a good night. Now, I've said that probably 100 times, because a good show, it varies. I mentioned the other weekend, I had Jason Hedden from Panama City Comedy here featuring for me. We did 2 shows. We did Ringgold, Georgia at Caffeine Addicts. You can catch me there every month. And then I did the Legion Theater in Cartersville, Georgia. I'm there every other month. Those are 2 staples in the Big Rich arsenal that I do those shows. I promote them. I headline them. I bring in great comics. We have a good time. Those 2 shows, totally different. Here's how. The one in Ringgold, we've done that show for 4 years. Little side note there. I was invited to headline that show 4.5 years ago. A female comic in the Chattanooga area was producing a clean comedy show there at Caffeine Addicts. I got invited to be a part of it. And then I got hired again to do it. And the day before the show, I get a Facebook message. "Hey, we've canceled the show." It's just not working. Clean. I'm not a clean comic. She wants clean. I've struggled booking it. People aren't coming, blah, blah, blah. I thought, that's opportunity. Immediately, I thought there's opportunity. Well, what'd you do, Big Rich? I did what I think's right. So hopefully you do too, or you'll make the correction. I reached out to the booker, the promoter, and I said, do you not want to do this show anymore? No, I just don't have time. It's not really in my wheelhouse. I got other things I want to focus on. Would you mind if I reach out to the owner and talk to her about me doing it? No, that'd be great. Now, did I have to do that? No. But I think it's the right thing to do. There's places that I get asked to do shows that other comics and producers are already doing shows in those breweries, in those wineries. I'm like, ask them to call me. I don't want to take somebody else's what they're doing. I don't want to be Lowe's and Home Depot, building right beside one another. I got one town I do a clean comedy show in, and over the last year, two others have sprung up, one across the street, one two doors down. And does that bother you? No, I think it's a great compliment. They're seeing me successful and they want a piece of the pie. Um, doesn't hadn't changed my shows. I hadn't, I laugh. My shows are $20 a ticket. Those are free or like a couple bucks. And, I just use the the analogy, you get what you pay for. But I do what I do. Now, I don't book people. If they book those shows, I don't book them for my show in that particular town. Well, why, Big Rich? Because if you can go and hear this person for free, why are you going to come hear them and pay $20? So go that way. But it is what it is. I'm saying I told the woman, is it cool with you? She said, sure. I called the owner. I said, hey, I'd love to do this show. She goes, I'd love for you to do it. Next thing you know, we've done 42 shows there in 4 years. And we got 12 more on the calendar for the rest of this year and into next already. It's worked. And what's crazy about that show, guys, is that show, it runs anywhere from 25 people to 60 that attend. There are people that have been to that show over 40 times, and they come back every month. And I've built a brand. I've built a group of people that come out to hear clean comedy. They believe in what I'm doing. They like the people that I bring on to the shows. And it's a feel-good night for them. And we add new people every month. So producing shows is a lot more work than just showing up and performing. I'd much rather just perform, but if you want to get an opportunity and you want to do comedy, you better find yourself a venue. That's what I did that separates me from a lot of other people. When I started, I didn't ask to be on somebody else's show. I went out and found me venues, and I went to places where I spent money, and I told them, hey, I want to do clean comedy. What's your slowest night? They told me, can I do a show here? We booked it. I sold the tickets. I found the comedians, and we took off. And that was 500 plus shows ago. So, if you can find a venue, and other comics aren't looking to do an hour's worth of material. See, going to these where it's the best of, where there's 8 comics doing 8 minutes, those are great shows and they work and people love them. It's not my style. I stress out. If I'm told, when I go to Zany's and I work Zany's Nashville and they tell me you've got 10 minutes, I'm a nervous wreck. I can do comedy for an hour much easier than I can 8 to 10 minutes. Because I have to condense everything. I have to decide, what do I want to do, and then connect it and make it work. So again, talking a lot about the nuts and bolts of comedy for a little bit, but let me bring it out to you this way, and then we'll finish up this one, go into part 2 next week. Whatever it is you do, if you're starting your own business, you're coaching your kids travel ball, you're doing a family project. These principles work. Treat others like you want to be treated. Think bigger than what you're thinking. Step out. If God's called you to this, if God's hands on it, is it easy? No. Man, if it's easy, everybody'd do it. But we go through seasons, man. And man, when the seasons are up here and things are rocking, I enjoy it, but I'm immediately thinking about, okay, I better prepare for when it's the valley, when the seasons change. And they do, they come and go. But this business, and it is best advice I got, a lot of good advice I've gotten. Janet Williams, Tennessee Tramp, gave me this advice. She says, remember, show business, the bigger word is business. You spend much more time doing business than you do shows. And gosh, is that so true? I spend 80% of my time doing the business side of this. It's really not fun. But there'll come a day, and I remember her telling me after one of my shows, she goes, there'll come a day when you'll have people that you can afford that can do all that for you, and you can focus on being creative and being creative and being creative. And I said, I'm looking forward to it because I spend most of my time, probably 85%, doing all the other stuff. So whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to be doing it all. You're going to wear a lot of hats, but be encouraged. It's a season. Enjoy while you're doing it. Count it all joy when you face tests or trials of any kind. Enjoy life. It's my motto. It's what I'm doing. It's how I got into comedy. Don't be lured to compare yourself to everybody else. Use what you know and have fun. And man, I appreciate you. We'll get more into this next week. Again, follow me at all social media. Check out the website, see where the shows are. My Facebook will tell you about all my shows. I do over 100 a year. I'd love to see you at about 10 of them. No, I'd love to see you at one. We'll have a good time. If you haven't been out yet, come see me. If you have, bring some friends, bring some of the people, bring somebody that needs some joy in their life. We're going to have a good time. Coming to you right here, Hammerhead Creations, Cartersville, Georgia. This is Big Rich with Big Rich Brock Comedy, and I hope you have a great week.